Okay, so good day. Welcome to Come As You Are. And our very first episode, actually, we have a very special guest, Mr. Xavier Edwardz, joining with us all the way from Tobago.
Daily changes, stranger faces every
Welcome,
time
Mr.
I go to the
Edwards.
city.
Hey,
So,
Keetz.
Coronavirus,
greetings,
crime and
greetings.
violence pretend like everything
So I just want to
pretty.
get right into it.
Rape and murder
So we
just
had
to
a
show
wonderful
that
chat,
Gucci and
in
God is
preparation
free.
for this interview.
Children raised by
And,
the
I
internet,
really
but
like
now
how
me
the
face
chat
well
went, and I really
be.
hope that the interview really
Mommy Mona
follows
Lisa,
follows
the
that same
children
fashion,
now weep.
because
Daddy
it was
bought
a
a Gucci
thought-provoking chat,
but no
as short as
food
it
for
was.
that
You
tummy.
wouldn't imagine,
Jessica, Jean
he
and
gave me a few things to
Dinah,
think
I see
about.
walking up
So
campus
how have you
street.
been since the
Better
chat?
stepping
I've
designer
been good.
to forget your
Um,
poverty.
yeah, happy to be here and grateful to be alive in the midst of all the challenges. I just had a
Yeah.
really beautiful lunch, so I'm feeling particularly good right
Oh, what? I can say I'm slightly gelling. I haven't had my lunch as yet.
now.
Slightly gelling. And I know Tobago food is excellent. So
Yeah.
yes. So I mean as I mentioned before to you, this show, Come As You Are. What it is we want to recognize people who we see as successful or who definitely on the road to success. We want to say, okay, we recognize you, we see you in the public, but who are you behind the scenes? What what are the ingredients that went into the pot to make you who you are, to make you the person that you are today? Yes, we're definitely interested in hearing about your accomplishments. And I have a couple of questions in terms of some of your music and things like that. But I want to know about you, about Xavier. Who is Xavier? What makes Xavier happy? What kind of childhood experiences that Xavier could look back and be really happy about? What's Xavier's favorite book? Things like that. I just want to know you for who you are, because I think that it's important for people to understand that yes, you can be successful, but there's a real side to things. There's a real experience behind what everybody sees, the final product that everybody sees. So that's what the show is about. And people are beautiful, people are infinitely beautiful. And I think that another side of it is just seeing that beauty. Sometimes as an artist or just as a person in public, you kind of forced to portray a certain image, or you package in a certain way, and it may or may not give the totality of the beautiful person you are. So I think that's the next side of Come As You Are, in terms of seeing, different sides of the image and the person. So tell us a little about yourself, Xavier.
Um, Thank you for that, firstly. I think that's a great mission and vision you all have set out to achieve.
Thank you.
Um, I guess attempting to even really contextualize or define yourself is enough of a challenge, much less for people who only get glimpses through your whether it's your art, as I'm a musician primarily, or your speeches or your work, whatever type of work it is.
Yes.
And there's so much going on behind that, in the psychology and in the memories, in the experiences that help shape the product that you know you all see now, even that we live as. Um, I'm from Roxborough, Tobago.
Okay.
I spent the first 7, 8 years of my life in Roxborough, Tobago. Then I spent maybe about 4 years in Fort, Tobago. Then I moved to Scarborough to live with my grandparents. And I went to Bishop's High School where I had my secondary education. All that's I guess that's like the general storyline that people might map of like a history and where you come from. But me, I identify, like what I identify as now is a soul, like, you know, a divine reflection of infinite intelligence, you know, that which we call God, that isn't limited by those experiences, while they have added value and has the ability to change the chart and reinvent the personality, or even pause and reflect on how the personality was shaped to be who I am now. And I have a sister, one sister.
Okay.
I have a son, one son.
Yes.
I have a life partner who's like real amazing. Give thanks for all these beautiful gifts along this human journey.
Yes.
I'm a musician. I believe in the goodness of humanity. I believe in love. I believe in honesty and always having the ability to become a better version of yourself. And you know, every day, little by little. I mean, in a nutshell, those are some of the core things I would say about who I am and I guess what I represent.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate that aspect of you that, you're so honest and open.
Hi,
Um,
Teddy.
so tell me a little bit about growing up, How was
Yeah,
it? How was it growing up, How was life?
it was fun. I had a lot of
Nice.
fun growing up. I grew up in an extended family home in Roxborough, Tobago. My granny, Granny Inez, she rests in peace. A real beautiful woman, so much love and so much compassion for everybody. I had a lot of cousins in the house around the same age,
Okay.
so I used to play a lot. I was the youngest. They might call
Okay.
me the spoiled child.
The spoiled one, yes, yes.
The one who you better do go wrong, else Granny go fix you.
Yes. The granny eyeball.
Yeah. And I was always like, I guess, curious about life. My mom told me I used to just like sit and stare at ants for like hours, just amazed by like how they would cooperate,
Operate.
this manifests. What there's such grand things in the scheme of how small they are, and how the teamwork
Yeah.
is just so magical. And I I didn't have cable TV, so I had two channels. There really was one channel because 2 and 13 was the same channel. Channels 2 and 13, TTT or whatever it was
Yeah.
called at the time. I think it's back
Yeah.
to being called TTT now.
TTT, yes, yeah.
And I love to read. I'd read anything. I'd read
Okay.
anything. Any
Nice.
magazine, any novel, anything. And so my childhood years were a lot of fun. I remember a
I
lot of
love.
fun. And I remember life being like real easy. Like
Okay.
like I never
Yeah,
worried.
yeah, yeah. You don't have to worry. You don't know how food gets on the table, but
Yeah,
it's there.
yeah,
But
it's there.
I am actually, funny enough, one of the questions I really wanted to find out from you is, well, yes, if you like to read, but what is your favorite book? If you had to say out of all the books you read, what's your favorite book? I feel like a person's favorite book could tell you a lot about the person. In some way or another, it could tell you a lot about that person. So share with us what your favorite book is. And I may not have read it before, so just a little snapshot of what the book is about.
To really tell you our favorite book is gonna be a challenge.
Serious?
Let me think about it. Favorite. You see, because I enjoy so many of the books that I've read. I I really enjoyed The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I
Paulo
really
Coelho,
enjoyed
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Let's take that as my favorite book for today.
Yeah, yeah, we can go with that.
Tomorrow could be something different. But for
I
today,
respect that. I
for
mean, it's
today,
like
let's take that.
music. It's like sometimes you say, all right, this is my favorite song, but it's really a top five, you know, and
Yeah,
they could share the top one spot. It could rotate.
it
So
could
tell us
rotate.
about The Alchemist. I actually never read it, but I've heard a lot about it, and I heard a lot. I know a lot of people who really, really love that book as well.
All right, cool. I also love the Power Now. I
Okay, yes, I heard about that book as
and New Earth and a lot of spiritual development books, but I'll zone in on and
The Alchemist.
spiritual and self development. But I'll zone in on The Alchemist because it was such easy reading, and it found a way to embed such profound concepts about uh, destiny as an idea, destiny as something achievable. You know, the idea of inner knowing and trusting your intuition, the ideas about the universe conspiring for your success once you decide you want to do something in a way that is palatable to even a young mind,
Yeah.
which, you know, is, I think, a great way to, it's a great entry into understanding your own possibilities without having content that's too dense or
Right.
too mystical, you
Yes,
know.
yes, yes.
So I just think it's a wonderfully written book that
Okay.
is empowering, fun to read, and yeah, it makes you believe and really believe like anything is possible in a real
All
way.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
You
I hear
definitely
you. I
should
hear
read
you with that. I will. I definitely will
it.
because there's like the universe telling me, okay, you need to read this because you're not the first person that, really um highly recommended the book. And
Mm.
I didn't get that much description like what you just gave, but it's something that I'll definitely look into. Um But on that note, I know previously I asked you about, your spirituality and you being a spiritual person. You want to share a little bit about that in terms of, how you came to be the person you are in terms of your spirit, man?
Mm. Um, yeah, I could share a bit on that. So I think we all, to a degree, are born with that, or at least venture into those realms of thought from very young. I think what's lacking in the space, or used to be, because it's shifting now, is the actual information,
Right,
the
right.
actual framework to contextualize the experiences that children would have or wonder about, so that they could make sense of it,
Yeah, yeah.
so that they could dive into it deeper. So I remember being a little child contemplating death as a concept, contemplating non-existence as a concept, or, wondering about the nature of the world we live in and who am I? Like, who am I? Like, I know I have a name, I know I have parents, I know there's a story behind me, that, information that I've put together, but always feeling like there's something more than the tangible aspects, but not
Okay.
necessarily having someone around to frame it for me. And then very quickly we go into the school system and we learn all these, you learn what's important and what's not important.
Important. And what's not important?
So your
Yeah.
mind now, it stops, in a sense, it stops living in the world of wonder and mystery and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
contemplation and depth, and you kind of zone into facts and arithmetic
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
these very practical things to operate in the world that we live in now. Practical, but not necessarily seeking your best developmental interests. So, I just like most other people fell into that system of letting my inner childhood, my inner wonder, my inner spirit man, because the spirit man is really the spirit child.
Yeah,
Children
yeah.
are so spiritual,
Mm.
die in a sense, or go to rest until I was in, I guess, early university years. Maybe not even that far. Yeah, maybe like early high school. Like mid high school, I would say. You start to wonder again because
Your identity, you're forming a kind of identity now.
yeah,
Who am I? Yeah,
who
yeah,
am I really? Who kind of personality I want to build?
yeah.
But I guess there's a lot of checkpoints along the way, but I guess the most dominant thing that stands out to me as a real checkpoint was in college when I was privy enough to have, access to enough resources that allowed me to fulfill desires that I might want to have, whether it's to party a certain way or dress a certain way or live a certain way that was presented as the ideals of happiness and
Yeah.
fulfillment, and then not necessarily find it there. Not necessarily find that fulfillment, that joy, or even that knowing of that understanding of your own self there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I started to listen to a guy called Ralph Smart. He has a page called Infinite Waters. Diving deep, I used to
Yes.
listen to that.
Yeah.
I used to expand my mind, and then I was privy enough to have access to books, that help to give one tools to understand the way the mind works. And I also during that time was consuming marijuana. I was smoking, which, as you know, affects the way the mind operates. And
Yeah.
I do not smoke anymore or really consume marijuana, but the way I contextualize marijuana as a contributor to my experience was that it helped. Marijuana gave me what I would call a glimpse into the possibilities of the own mind, the own human potential, by
Okay.
shifting the way you perceive the world. But it's
Yes.
not
Yes.
sustainable for
Yes.
me
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you need an external stimulus to stay there. So marijuana contributed in that way, and my spiritual studies contributed in that way. I was privy enough to have people around who could give me those same tools that I was talking about that we didn't have for the children, so that I got
Yes.
to have them, and or at least even if it's not the answers they were giving me, they were asking me the questions I needed to ask myself. I
Yeah.
also had a son on the way, my 5-year-old son. His name is Zion, and when he was on his way to planet Earth, I remember feeling as though I am dying.
Wow. Wow.
And I was asking, but I wasn't afraid. It wasn't scary. It wasn't. I was just feeling like I'm dying, and I actually didn't know. Let me go ahead.
I need to stop you there because that was the same exact experience I had when just before I found out I was pregnant. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing to hear you even say that because I thought that something was wrong with me. I was like, what's going on with me? I was feeling like a dying and I was okay. I was okay. I mean, I was reflecting on my life and where it was, but I was okay with the thought of it. And I remember sharing it with my cousins, and they all got real silent and they was like, girl, like, where's that one? Why you telling us this? Don't worry about that, you go be all right. And I'm like, no, y'all, it's cool, it's cool. I just telling you all, just in case anything happened, this is what I'm feeling. And then like within the month I found out I was pregnant, and I was like,
Uh,
okay, maybe that is where the feeling was coming from, but I still never understood why a feeling of death, So
yeah,
I want to hear what you have to say. So
yeah,
yeah, so continue.
well, yeah, we share that experience, and just like you,
Yeah.
I actually didn't know I had a son on the way. I just felt like
Okay.
I was dying. So it's the same,
Right, right. Okay,
right?
okay.
And just like you, I was very much okay with it, reflecting on my life, but very much okay, very, very
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
I was like, if this is what imminent death feels like, firstly, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
first reflection.
Yeah.
And then in retrospect, I realized what that dying feeling was. So there's a prayer, I think it's called St. Francis prayer. And I went to Anglican church when I was growing up, so I used to always hear it
Okay.
in church. At the end of the prayer, the last phrase is, "It is in dying we receive eternal life."
Yes. Yes, I know that prayer.
And I remember being like so perplexed by that in church as a child. I was like, "It is dying we receive eternal life? Like I need to die to receive
Yeah, like
eternal
why
life?"
we call it vanity? Yeah.
Yeah, but I always contextualize it in terms of physical death.
Yes.
But
Yes.
in retrospect, I realized it was a death of what we call the ego, which
Mm-hmm.
is uh, ideas about yourself or your
Yeah.
identity, an aspect of your identity that you think you are, but it isn't actually um, the essence of who you are.
Who you are, or the totality of who you are. Yeah. And
Exactly.
I just as you were speaking, I was thinking the same thing, is really and truly, um it don't have any magic formula to being a good parent. Being a good parent is about self-sacrifice, it's about, there's nothing that says, oh, this one is a good parent. No. Self-sacrifice, your ability to give of yourself and to be willing to give of yourself, to me is what defines a good parent or
Yeah,
not, Um and so that concept of dying to self is
yeah,
probably what we were feeling, this shift in our reality, this shift in our being that is now saying, okay, because remember, physically, intellectually, we don't know, but spiritually, remember, I
spiritually.
believe that spiritual things happen, beyond time and space. So whereas in this realm, we have to wait till the seconds go by to reach from this point to this point. I feel like in the spiritual realm, it doesn't happen that way. I can't say how it happens, but I just
Yeah,
think it doesn't happen that way. So whereas we were spiritually now aware that, okay, something is happening, something big is coming. Physically, intellectually, we didn't know. So we could never even have understood, and maybe that was the closest thing to conceptualize, to marry that thought and that feeling that our spirit was portraying to us, like, okay, but it's probably that, just that to self, that self-sacrifice, and in our previous conversation, you asked me about motherhood, and you realize I pause because I wanted to be as honest as possible. And yes, it's lovely. It's probably one of the most amazing things I've experienced in life. But it's also difficult, and it takes a lot out of you physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And in a way, it even put me on a higher understanding of humanity, of being a woman, what it means to be a woman. I I was what they call a geriatric mother. So I had my daughter when I was 30 years old. And so I was a woman for 30 years before I realized a whole new world of what it meant to be a woman, a whole new meaning of what it meant to be a woman. And that came with, the birth of my daughter. So yeah, that change and that this new reality that you're approaching, and you don't even know, because you know, your intellectual man is limited by time and space. So we there trying to figure out what going on, and we thinking, yeah, man, this the bucket ride, they are gonna kick it. You know, because that's what we thinking, not knowing is yeah, not knowing
Yeah,
is something more, a lot more wonderful and beautiful, you know?
exactly right. And it's like
Yeah,
this, that is the most, the mere fact that what you felt like was death or dying in terms of how we conceptualize it, and then what was really coming was life, shows us the
yeah,
interconnected nature between life and death as not separate
true.
things.
That is true. That is true. That is true. I'm really, I'm not gonna lie, I still a little mind blown because I've never heard anybody share that experience. And you know, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I don't doubt for a second that, you know, this conversation was meant to happen, you know, it was planned
Yeah.
throughout
Yeah.
time, you know. So, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
so,
grateful to
so
share that experience with you.
yeah,
I've
me
never heard
too,
anyone
me too.
say it to you.
Me too, me too. And who knows, there might be other people out there who had it, you know, who had that same experience. But
Yeah.
so let me get into your music. So I listen to a good bit of your songs. But let me tell you something. I am one of those people who like I like deep things, but it takes me a while to understand it and to pull things apart. I was never good at literature, put it that way. You know, English B, I think it is.
English
I
being.
would do the worst. I would do the worst. Like they would give you a poem and I would be so upset. Like, why can't I just get these answers to the questions correct? You know, like what are people seeing in this poem that I can't see?
Oh
And I
God.
feel like your music would have been one of those poems that had me getting F's because I'm there like, okay, the videos help a lot because the videos give you a more visual, you know, understanding and thing. But if I didn't see some of your videos, I would be lost. I'd be like, what is this song about? You know, like you get the general idea, but I want to get into the depth, the meaning, you know. So I have a few songs that I have questions about, and this to me is a privilege because I've listened to many music, many songs before, and I wish I had an opportunity to ask the artist, what did you mean when you said this? Or what was that song really about? You know, you
Yeah.
ever had a song like an artist you listen to and you're like, I wish I could ask that person what that song was about. I know it have a deeper meaning that I just not grasping. So I
Yeah.
am really thankful for the opportunity to be able to ask you. So we'll start with lucid dreaming. Tell me what that song is about. I really liked it. I love the music. All the music I really love, you know, but tell me what this song Lucid Dreaming is about. What was the thinking behind that song?
Lucid dreaming. I love that song too. I really do. Lucid dreaming, firstly, is lucid means aware.
Mm-hmm.
Lucidity deals with awareness,
Okay. Yeah.
ability to recognize and know. So a lucid dream is a dream where you're aware that you're dreaming.
Yes.
And it's a practice that well, first it was an experience that I had. And then it's a practice that I started to develop, which is the ability to recognize that you're in a dream when you're dreaming. What
Okay.
happens when you recognize that you are dreaming while in a dream is that you get absolute control of the construct.
Mm-hmm.
You are no longer a, let's call it a
A passive observer.
yeah, or even an actor in the film.
Right,
You're
right.
actually the director, creator, producer, everything, and
Yeah.
you all the limitations of this 3D experience, waking life, that you go into the dream with,
Mm-hmm.
they fall apart. You could fly, You could create whatever you want to create. So it's a real magical experience. But you can only do it if you become lucid in the dream, because if you don't become lucid in the dream and realize your interconnectedness to all that's happening, you live from a perspective, you experience the dream from a perspective of, let's call it, a victim of what's happening around you. Even if you're enjoying it or not, you're not creating what's happening around you. In a lucid dream, you could create it.
Okay.
So that song is based on the idea that the dream world and this world are very much the same, except the dream world is less dense. And in the same way, how in the dream world, you could experience it from a state of consciousness where you're a creator, you can experience this world from a state of consciousness where you are a creator.
Okay.
Because the dream world is more subtle, you could create faster. But this realm is dense, so it requires a little more energy, a little more willpower, a little more focus to manifest what you want to create, but you can.
Yes. Okay.
So that song is me moving through the phases of a dream, but it's really this reality. And in the end, creating the world I want to see and putting out that energy consciously. Hence the chorus, not the chorus, hence the last word speaks about, codependency and living in harmony with all the different creeds and races we have on the planet. Because that is the vision that I would like to see and manifest. And the chorus, sometimes I feel like I could take a stroll through the park. It's really because, that chorus is just like, at the end of the day, I know I'm just singing a song. And it's like, that's fine.
Wow. So there's a line, there's a couple lines in the song. So I'm gonna read it out, right?
Yeah.
Asking me if I'm kosher and I ain't Jewish, misconceptions of reality and symbolism that they can't believe. Wear your halo like a canopy, and you can open up your mind like a can of peas. So let me hear. What is the whole asking me if I'm kosher and I ain't Jewish, misconceptions of reality? What did you mean by that? What's the
Well, it's kind of okay. So there's this idea of the Jews being the Jews that are currently out in Israel, raging war against the Pakistani peoples, and then there's this idea that the Caribbean descendants of slavery are the Jews because we are the real Jews and blah blah blah. And I don't identify as either of those things. So if you ask me if I'm kosher, then I'm not Jewish. I don't identify with that definition of me as a person. And the reason that's why I say in the following line, misconceptions are reality. Symbolism that they can't believe. I wear my halo like a canopy and I open up my eyes like a can of peas. Essentially speaking to well, I'm not my hair, but I do appreciate the manifestation of it. And consciousness. I identify as consciousness, I identify as that, from that dimension. Not to disregard, history and stories and those elements that create you, but that's not where I try to live from as a perceiver of the world. So that's what that means.
Yes, I tell you, I'm very privileged right now to dive deeper into these lyrics.
I appreciate it.
Because you want to you like this song, but you also want to understand what it is about, the meaning behind it. So I will move to hieroglyphics. Tell me about hieroglyphics, and you could also share, in telling me about this song, you could also share what about the song you liked, like the experience of even creating the song,
Yeah. What I liked about that whole album, the Live Free project, is that album is what I would call a channeled album because it was
Okay.
so divinely inspired. Like the first track, the first words on the album are divine inspiration.
Okay.
Like that's the first words on the album.
Yeah.
It kind of set context for what it is, and I really see myself as a vessel, interpreting a channel to really bring forth these ideas through my individualized personality. So my individualized personality and my story is embedded into it because I'm still Xavier, but the essence of the album and those songs, ultimately my hope is that it resonates with the soul of the listener, not just their auditory faculty, you know. That's the intention of the song. So I was translating it, I was channeling divine inspiration coming through my personality, my ideas, my history, my story, but the essence was divine to inspire,
Yeah.
to uplift,
Yeah.
to bring forth ideas that are powerful, that are transformational, that inspire us to go in and help to understand ourselves more. So
Yeah.
that was what I enjoyed most about the process. I enjoyed being able to sit in silence. Most of the project was written late at night or early in the morning, 2, 3 o'clock.
Okay.
I enjoyed the ability to sit in silence and to get, translate, intelligence, divine intelligence at the best level that I could based on where I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wasn't very far along my journey when I started writing music. Actually, my musical journey and my spiritual journey are very much intertwined, as well as, my journey in fatherhood. All these
Okay.
things are
Wow.
intertwined, so they're
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
happening at the same time. So I was
Yeah.
actually very fresh in like being able to understand these concepts when I started translating. But so in a sense, I would sometimes get an idea and write it, and I have no idea what I'm saying. Well,
Right.
not no idea, but like sometimes, so like let's take the word hieroglyphics, right?
Right.
When I wrote that as the name of the song, I had no conscious recollection of knowing that word, but it turned out to be exactly what I thought it was. So that's how I knew it was really, really profound what I was being graced with, to be able to be a channel to bring forth these ideas, which to me, people have sometimes religious beliefs or personal beliefs that would would make what I'm saying contradictory or jar them. But I know what I was doing and hearing, and I know what was the purpose of it. And it was so
Yeah.
pure and so true.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just was coming through me still. And I had my own filter going on. So I in it,
Yeah.
the essence. So I enjoyed that part. That is why I say it will be the most enjoyable part. And I was grateful for the opportunity,
To
to
make
be that.
it. So,
Yeah.
and the song itself, what the song itself is about what?
Hieroglyphics are ancient Egyptian writings,
Yeah.
and the symbols in them are really to connote messages, understandings, philosophies in sometimes even deeper ways than words can.
Okay.
And hieroglyphics wasn't even supposed to be on the album. The album was finished. I had just finished recording Live Free, and I got the instrumental, and the same day I was about to wrap up in studio, and I wrote it in studio same day. First words are the hardest, even if you're the smartest, even if you graduated summa cum laude, regardless. So it really speaks to, hieroglyphics really speaks to your inner divinity and facing your fears, facing the ideas of limitation, you know, just facing yourself,
Yeah.
facing yourself.
Yeah.
And the name hieroglyphics is really to tie back into one of the philosophies that made their way now, in now time, alchemy that is, to
Mm-hmm.
mean transmuting base metals into gold, more valuable metals. But alchemy as a philosophy stemming out of ancient Kemet, what we call Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
is really about transmuting thoughts and destructive ideas to higher vibrations, to peace, to love, to compassion, to bliss. And all these are faculties within yourself. So the song is really about going through that alchemical process within yourself to transform yourself to a better person, to gold,
Wow.
for your aura
Yeah.
to be gold, So that's really something.
Wow. Wow. Oh, that's some good stuff, man. I tell you, I sitting here in the seat of privilege, you know. So let me see. I was searching for the lyrics for real. I couldn't get them at all. I love the song. I
Uh,
really wanted, but I couldn't find the lyrics. I don't
mhm,
know if where if you could tell me where I could find them, but tell us a little about
yeah,
about the song real. I really liked it. Really, really. I think it's probably one of my favorites,
yeah.
if not the favorite. I like where we come from as well. So yeah.
Cool. Real was representative of a evolution in myself, a personal evolution, um, and then an evolution in terms of my song, because most of the music before it was very much heavy hip hop, heavy soul, heavy jazz,
Mhm.
and Real was, I think, one of the most timely projects that I've ever worked on. It
Okay.
was produced by Ruel Lynch, uh, amazing producer from Trinidad and songwriter and vocalist. And it's very popular in the gospel community as far as I'm aware. And the the song is so reflective of what we're going through as a people, as a country, as a nation, as a planet right now.
Definitely.
And it really is just about encouraging people to be real with ourselves about our responsibility, our individual responsibility to the collective present moment we're having, and to not ignore our contributions
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
simultaneously saying that I'm faithful. I know that ultimately this is for collective good. So that's what
We
that
gonna
song
be
is
all
about.
right. Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
be all right.
We gonna
We
be all
gonna
right.
be all
Yeah.
right.
But
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because I mean, and especially in this time, it's difficult to have a conversation where you can't bring up what is happening, and I realize, I don't know if other people realize it, but I realize now they're trying to, kind of censor COVID. So it's like, yeah, they're not even mentioning it. Like, let's try not to mention it. And I guess they could say, oh, it's a trigger for people, whatever, but this is what we're living in right now. This is the reality. And the truth is, as you say, we all have to sit down and reflect on what we did or how we contributed to this, this reality that
Yeah.
we facing, like I remember when the in the beginning of the pandemic for us, which would have been March, February into March, February, March, April, that time frame, I remember when things stopped and everybody was like, no, for me, strange enough, that was when I had my daughter on the 23rd of February. So my whole maternity leave was the quarantine period. So I didn't even get the quarantine everybody got. I was just on maternity leave. Like why you all have to do me like this, I didn't even get like an extra something. So, but what one thing that struck me. So for me, I would have been at a halt because I was going through my, recovery because I had a C-section delivery. So, I was at an all-time halt. But
Mm,
what struck me was the halt that took place, locally, globally, where, people just had to stop. People didn't understand what was going on. They just had to stop. And the amount of discomfort that was emanating from people from having to stop, it was so strange because I was so thankful for the rest. I was
yeah.
like, why people not happy for the rest? Yeah, we understand that, we had to grind, we had to work, but, God will provide, things will come. But just this ability to rest, to not have to join the hustle and the bustle tomorrow morning. Why people wasn't so thankful for that. And I was like, I say I sure a lot of people now realize how much they was beating down the body because your body is amazing instrument. So machine. So it's like you will have your body running at a rate that it should not be running at, but you won't even realize it because it keep adapting to the growing demand. But the minute you rest and give that body a break, you will realize that when the body start back to operate, which it will kind of like reset and operate as it should, you realize, but my body wasn't really meant to operate at that rate that I had
Yeah.
it going at before. And I think that that's one of the things that kind of struck me with the pandemic was that it's almost as if the world was going crazy, like we were just
The
going at
world been
a rate.
crazy.
I know, but it was like we was going at a rate, to the point
Yeah.
where when the world had to halt, people was angry. People was like, but yet these are the same people who want vacation, begging for more vacation, this and that and the other. But you get it, a forced vacation. And now it's like everybody going mad. Nobody don't want to rest. Nobody don't want to stop. Nobody, and it
Mm,
really make you wonder what what really going on? What we doing it for? What
yeah.
we say we going out there and hustling and working hard for if now we have a situation that says stay home, stay home. You know, most of us, especially in the Caribbean, we have a backyard. Most of us have a backyard. The ones who don't have a backyard, more times than not, could afford to go in the grocery and buy something. But the ones who can't afford, they have a backyard, or you might have a little community park where we could plant our food and grow. You mightn't get the nicest things, but you could grow your pak choy, you could grow your pumpkin. You understand? We have
Yeah.
opportunities to do these things, and it's like instead of seeing that as an opportunity, we saw the having to stay home as a failure. But then, before the pandemic, ask anybody, why you working so hard? Why you doing this? Right? Because I want to provide for my family. But why? You want to provide for your family to do what? To enjoy life with them, or to just be working and buy things? What's the point of working hard to collect an income, and then when you get that income, you spend it on things, and then you're working hard to either pay off a debt or to buy more things. Where does the work stop and the time with family, the time, quality time spent with family start? And then now we have this pandemic that force it. And what we start to hear, we hear domestic violence going up. We hear suicides going up. We hear, you understand? And it's like,
True.
I mean, and even in somewhat peaceful homes, you had that tension
Attention.
of being around people too much for too long, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, this is a big check. This is a big reality check for us, for our world. It's a big, big, big reality check. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and I say, we need Gideon, man. We need Gideon. This is our war. It's a spiritual war going on right now. But I think, as you say, it's really just a reality check. Check ourselves. What did we, how we reach here? How we reach here, you know? So I totally identify with what you're saying with that song, you know. So before we wrap up, I want you to tell me about where we come from. So that song is straightforward, but I know this is a recent track that you dropped. So tell us about the song and you know a little bit in terms of what the song was to you, what it meant to you.
Well, this song to me is it's a whole nother evolution again, a whole nother personal evolution and musical as well. Because in as much as I was doing so much work and uh, pre-COVID, you know, COVID is gonna shift gears for everybody, because it's such a drastically different reality we were existing in. I wouldn't say I
Mm-hmm.
was like depressed or sad or troubled personally, but I was really compassionate to what was going on around, and I could see this struggle, I could see the pain, I could see the suffering,
Yeah.
I could see the challenges, and I could see the frustration, the toxicity that was building up in our society, namely even in Tobago, where apart from COVID and financial stress that people going through and the health issues and stuff, we also had like a political impasse, which was building up additional tension, particularly in the
Mm-hmm.
Tobago space.
Yeah.
So that's one side of the thinking behind the song. But also, I think I was ready to create a song that not only spoke to me as an artist and what was close to me, but to really try and connect with the land I'm from, the people I represent, and to really tap into that and tell that story. And it just happened that I was telling it at a time where there were a lot of challenges going on. And I've
Mm-hmm.
always been okay with talking about challenges in the music. Almost every song I've done thus far, duality is a powerful theme in it. I
Yes.
always
Yes.
deal with that dual aspect of, of,
Mm-hmm.
of reality and the nature of life. So I was being honest about the challenges we're going through right now, all those challenges, while shining light on the beauty that is Tobago and Trinidad and
Mm-hmm.
Tobago by extension in the
Yes.
midst of it. And the producer, when he sent me that guitar strum, from the first day I heard it, I fell in love.
Mm.
So that song is a love song. It's an ode to where I'm from.
Yeah. Oh, dear. It's a lovely song. It's a lovely song. And it's so funny you say that because the ending of the song is like Tobago, I love you. You know? It's like I really like the ending of the song. Yeah. So, well, I mean, I think I definitely think that this conversation gave me a much more in-depth view of who you are as a person, and I really commend you for your achievements thus far, and not just as an artist but as a person, as someone who seems to be committed to growth and evolution and you know social responsibility. You haven't said the word social responsibility, but you speak it, just in the way you talk and the things that you do and the things that you say, you speak social responsibility. And I think that that is something that we need more of, in especially with our generation where I think that we have a kind of entitled generation in the sense that we grew up with a lot of things that our parents didn't grow up with. So we take it for granted. A simple thing like the highway. It's like when you think about the fact that 50, 60 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't there. The ability to
Yeah.
just jump in on a straight road and reach from here to there in half an hour was not there. It's like that's blow our mind because we don't know that reality. We just have a highway. We know the highway, the highways, you understand?
We are
a
these
cell
things.
phone, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's like at
Yeah.
a at when I was in university, when I just started, my family kind of split up because my sister and my brother went to the States to live, and my other brother, he moved out to study. And, it's like we have a very close family, so that was really difficult to go through that split. But having a cell phone and being able to see their face, of Skype, at the time Skype was the main video chatting platform, and that was like a real blessing, a real, again, entitlement, because
Yeah. Such blessing.
my father didn't have that. He went away to England to study, and he just didn't have that. I don't even know. I keep a big account on his hands. He called home and was able to talk to somebody in the time he studied abroad, And I see that, I think that because of the blessings that our generation was given, the other side of it is that sense of entitlement where we feel like we must always get and have, and not really consider the other side of, you know, whose back did we get this on?
Yeah,
Who built the
definitely.
highways? Who put all the work to give the highway that we have now? How do we treat our old people? A simple thing like that will tell you how grateful we are towards those that went before us and paved the way for us, put certain things in place, put certain, it's not perfect. Trust me, we know it's not perfect. We have the corruption, we have the all kind of thing, but they still created a civil and even, developed to a certain extent society for us where we comfortable, we comfortable. We have those who not, but we have social programs in place, so it's like we we working towards something good, and there's definitely room for what's improvement. But I feel like our generation need to show a little more social responsibility as a form of appreciation to those that went before, not just to the older generation, but even social responsibility to the ones that come in after. Because what we leaving for them, when we drain the resources and we, you know, spend foolishly, what we leaving for them. You understand?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah. I
I
agree.
I I
You're speaking to my foundations there, gratitude. I'm real.
got it.
I try to root myself in that every day as I get up and every night as I go to bed, and try to instill it in my son and the people
Yeah.
around me, and because I consider it the foundation of joy.
I think so too. Yeah, yeah,
So what you speak to there, I think, and I think in with gratitude comes a level of care, a level of consideration
yes,
to take care of and to do better, and that
yes,
social responsibility you speak about. Yeah.
yeah. So thanks so much, Xavier, for making the time to come on board with us. And I can definitely say you came as you are, true to the show, true to the form, And I just, I want to proclaim continued success. I want to proclaim continued health and prosperity to you, blessings to you and your family. And I ask you to continue to stay safe during this time. And again, thanks so much. Thank you so much for, just sharing yourself with us, and have enjoyed the rest of your day. I hope to enjoy a good meal today as you did. You have any questions for me before we wrap up? Anything you want to share that I didn't touch on? Is there anything that you want to share with the listeners?
I just want to share gratitude to you all for inviting me to the platform and for taking the time to listen and to reason and share same way. And look, we found out that we're not the only one who felt like we were dying, you know.
True,
There's beauty
true,
in that, you
true.
know, beauty in sharing, and to
That's
encourage
true.
everybody who tuned in to, you know, actively, actively really work on improving in the little, whatever little way we can each day. And I wish you all the best with the platform and your continued
Thank you.
work in shining light on, you know, beautiful people and things. And may your family be blessed. Same.
Thank you so much. All right, Xavier, take care.
Peace.
Same to you.
Link up with a sister Isle named Trinidad, West Indian, beat the pan. I know you know the name, do. Come and take a lime and a wine for carnival. Have a lemonade and unwind into Tobago, into Tobago.